Good day, welcome to Endurance Room. I hope you're doing well. Today we're taking a look at a shovel for my friends at Russian Cold Camo. This is 6E5, the Ratnik Shovel. It's the same design that they've been using for years and years, the old Soviet Spetsnaz shovel. This is the modern issue, and it is tremendously useful as a tool out in the woods. I just want to say real quick, if anybody's offended by where this gear is from, it's quality gear for the woods. It comes from an American family-owned business in the Midwest. It's the same stuff that I've been using on this channel since the very beginning, and I don't have a problem with it. So if you guys do, don't worry about it. Just go watch something else. Everybody else, let's check out this shovel and learn how to build a Dakota Fire Pit. Here we have it, 6E5, the Ratnik Shovel. It's 18 inches in length. It only weighs about 1 pound, which is extremely light as far as other e-tools are concerned. And thanks to its relatively flat profile, you're able to utilize this as a chopping or cutting implement. Very, very useful, multifunctional tool. The shovel comes with a MOLLE compatible protective sheath in EMR. I've got it tucked underneath the lid of my pack to help secure it, but it's on there, it's solid. To release it, you just unbutton, good to go. You can see right here, this is the stock factory edge of the shovel, and this is what the whole perimeter was like, but I went around it with my 1x30 belt grinder and just put on, a soft edge. It's a bit sharper than it was for going through roots and whatnot. For chopping, so it's not an axe, it's not a big knife, but in lieu of those things, it works pretty good. So now that you've seen that it's got a bit of an edge on it, it's relatively flat, which makes it good for chopping. And one of the drills you can do to work on your chops, your cuts, is called the 8 directions. And what that is basically an asterisk. And then there's actually 9, which is like coming in thrusting. There's a couple ways to thrust, but what you do is just go through those directions, go down, back up, across, back across, up, down, in. So the thrust goes straight in, it goes in from the outside, and it goes in from the inside. So like you're coming around something. And then you just work on getting nice, smooth, fluid movement with your body. You notice how I'm like turning my hips and shifting my weight? That's letting you hit with the body, cut with the body, rather than just the arm, right? Like that's only as strong as the arm is, but then when you're shifting the weight and putting the body into it, you've got your whole structure behind it, which is way more powerful. They're also really good for throwing. Now let's talk a bit about using it as a digging tool. So number 1, sanitation. If you're in an area for any length of time, you're going to have to go to the bathroom. You can use your shovel to dig out a small hole and take care of business and keep your area sanitary. 100 yards, 150 yards away from any of your fresh water sources. If you're with a group of people, it becomes all the more important. You want to keep your area clean. You don't want, a smelly mess bringing in any unwanted visitors, 4-legged or 2-legged. Shelter building. You can use your shovel to help set up your shelter in a number of ways. Simply keeping water out from coming into your tent or your tarp shelter. You can do that simply by digging a small trench around the perimeter, say 6 inches deep, and then any rain that would come in along the side, it would hit that trench rather than coming on the inside of your shelter. If you guys follow Bushcraft Buddy, he's a German bushcrafter. He put out an awesome video setting up a German military style camp a couple weeks ago, and he showed how they lined the inside of their tent and dug it out, getting down below the layer of the soil. So if they were in a hostile area and their tent, you know, was under fire, they would be down below the line of the earth being protected. Very, very cool. It was a great video. Definitely, you guys should check him out. You know, Corporal's Corner, I know you guys follow him. He's posted a number of videos building shelters with shovels, filling sandbags and whatnot. So we've got cutting, defensive applications, sanitation, shelter building, fire. You know, I mentioned Dakota Fire Pits at the beginning of the video, and the ground is still frozen here. I dig one out and show you guys, but I think I'm just gonna talk you through it today. I promise I'll do a Dakota pit in the near future as soon as this ground softens up, but like right now it's like a rock. But if you're out in the woods and you are in an area that, you know, it's inhospitable for whatever reason, you know, maybe you're doing stealth camping, maybe you suddenly found yourself in a foreign land and you don't want to give your position away, one of the ways to avoid doing that and still have a fire is to dig a Dakota Fire Pit. And that's simply digging a hole about the size of a coffee can, maybe 1 foot in diameter, you know, wide and 1 foot tall. And then you have a second hole, a pilot hole, that would feed in wind. So if the wind is coming in this way, you'd want your pilot hole off on the side, and then your burn hole over here. And then as the wind's blowing, it's feeding air down into the fire, letting you have a nice bed of coals, a nice small fire down below the line of the soil. So if somebody is out on the horizon away from your campsite, they're not going to see the flames coming up, giving your position away. In addition, it also helps reduce the smoke that's emitted from the fire. It helps burn up more of the material and reduce the smoke signature, which is also very good. So definitely worth having these skills in your pocket and being aware of it. You know, you guys have seen my overnight videos. You know I enjoy having a big campfire and, you know, staying warm and cooking my food on it. But if circumstances, you know, aren't ideal, then, you know, a fire is probably not going to be the best way to go. And if you need to have a fire, one way to do that is to have a Dakota Fire Pit or a small stove. I've featured a couple small stoves on my channel. With a little solo stove that I featured, one of those flat pack steel stoves or titanium stoves, one of those would be good. I've showed you guys the Kelly kettle in a recent video. That would be good. Anything that would let you burn and boil your water and, you know, generate some heat while concealing the flame, I think that's going to be important in the future. So something to be aware of. And lastly, fire safety. One of the biggest factors in forest fires isn't so much, you know, sparks coming off the fire as it is from an ember forming in the roots down in the earth. And the way to avoid that is to use your shovel and cut down through those roots and separate them. So if there's an ember in, you know, in your coal bed, and you think that the fire is out on the top, there may still be a little bit of an ember at the bottom, and that could continue to burn for literally months before it germinates into a forest fire. So something to be aware of, and, you know, something to avoid. You don't want to be that guy and get smoky after you. Right on, everybody. I hope you enjoyed a look at the Ratnik Shovel. Russian coal camo is currently sold out of these, and thanks to the sanctions, I don't know when they're going to be able to get more in. Currently, they're able to bring in clothing from their sources, but there's a lot of stuff going on, guys. But if you've been curious about picking up a Gorka, go hit them up. I highly recommend the clothing. It's fantastic, amazing woods gear. I've been wearing these for about 3 years now, and I have never ever regretted picking up my Gorkas or any of the other clothing or tools, backpacks that I've gotten from Russian Cool Camo. It's all been top-notch quality stuff for the woods. And if you're more concerned with function than, you know, fashion and labels, highly recommend it. All right, everybody, I hope you're good. I hope your cupboards are full and your tanks are filled and you guys are all taking care of business, because it's about to get rowdy. I'll catch you soon. Cheers.